I've been sober now and clean for the best part of 2 years, but I remember my drinking started like I suppose most people's would. It's experimental when I was about 14, 15, something like that. But so I left school at 16 and I got a job, so I had money and was in the pub sort of every night. And even then, I was drinking to get drunk because it sort of gave me the confidence and freed me up. And I had a lot of problems with what they called then manic depression.
I began drinking at a very young age. I was brought up in a family surrounded by alcohol. I probably took my first drink when I was about 13. I didn't realise I had a problem with alcohol until I was in my 20s. My triggers for drinking alcohol were any kind of emotion, happiness, excitement, sadness, depression. I drank on all kinds of emotions.
All my qualifications and stuff suffered because I was drunk in my exam, and that's not the best way to take an exam. And it kind of went without being noticed because I was with a group of friends and we all experimented with drugs and we did drink a lot, but mine was always to excess, and I was just sort of known as the guy that drank the most, took the most, did the most nuts things, and was really out of control. And during all that time, I met my wife. I got married, and it was came very quickly obvious to her that I had a drink problem because even if I wasn't out, I was drinking at home, and she kind of, got to the point where I just didn't treat her well, and I was out. I'd disappear for weekends on end, and come back. So it was just like really out of order behaviour. And she got pregnant, and the baby sort of came too soon, and there was a big do at the hospital, and they tried to get it breathing, and it's just horrible. And instead of dealing with that properly and sort of helping my wife deal with it, because I couldn't process it. I just couldn't deal with it at all. And I just went right off the deep end. And that's when I started drinking in the day.
Throughout the drinking, I had many low points. I have 3 children, which at the time of my drinking, I lost custody of to my husband. And that's just one of probably the lowest point was losing my 3 children due to alcohol.
I mean, I was at work, and I used to put vodka in a Lucozade bottle, and I was talking to my boss, and I put my hand in and pulled out the vodka bottle and drank it in front of him. Just things like that was starting to happen. So I was losing jobs, didn't care about that. The marriage completely disintegrated. And I mean, in the end, she was just scared of me. I mean, I wasn't ever physically violent or anything like that, but my behaviour was just crazy. And my friends drifted from me, and I just sort of grew the reputation of being basically a nutter.
I had quite a few problems, physical problems, but at the time I was in denial. I knew my body was reacting. I lost a lot of weight. I was in a really bad way. I lost a lot of friends. I became a recluse. I drank at home for the last 4 years of my drinking. I didn't want to go out, I didn't want to see anybody. I was suffering from depression, anxiety, panic attacks, and physical problems. I couldn't walk properly, I couldn't function.
And that went on for a few years, and I never dealt with the loss of the kid, and consequently never dealt with the marriage breaking up. And I literally crashed, and I ended up in a psychiatric hospital for, I don't know, quite a long time, quite a while I was in there.
Eventually, I suppose they say a rock bottom. I had quite a few rock bottoms. I tried AA, it didn't work. I went to rehab for 3 months, came out, I stayed dry for 6 months, and I relapsed. That was very hard. Luckily, I didn't go back to where I was before, although I was back drinking for 2 years. I knew that I wanted help. I knew that I'd had enough drinking in my life. I'd had enough of it. I wasn't enjoying it. There was no fun or joy in drinking. It was something my body needed to have to function on a daily basis. I'd wake up in the morning from not a proper sleep, a comatose type sleep. I'd have to physically hold a drink down just so I could function, just so I could get up and do the normal things, wash, clean my teeth, tidy my flat, whatever I needed to do, to see my kids. I had to have a drink to be able to do these basic, everyday things.
I met another woman. She was great. She's like the love of my life, really. And we had a daughter. I would get insanely worried about my daughter, which constantly, and I was a nervous wreck all the time.
I reached another rock bottom. I actually asked for help and planned to have a home detox for the final time. I'd had 4 previous detox, but this one felt different. I knew that I wanted to get well. I knew that I wanted alcohol out of my life. Something triggered in my brain that was it. You know, it was time for me to turn my life around. At the age of 37, I'd had enough. I wanted my kids back. Although I was seeing them regularly, I wanted to have my kids back in my life every day. I wanted to become a normal person, whatever normal is.
By my early 30s, I'd literally become totally and utterly addicted to it, and physically addicted to it as well. So I'd be like shaking and ill in the morning and having to drink before I could even function properly. Because I was like that, my partner stopped me seeing my daughter, and I couldn't deal with it. I could not handle it. I was just devastated, and all the worry, and the loss, and alcoholism wants you to be alone, and it wants you to be depressed. It wants you in a darkened room, hating everyone and everyone hating you. So you have to keep feeding yourself it. I really believe that. And I made a conscious decision at that time, because I didn't have the guts to jump off of anything high, that I would literally drink myself to death. So my drinking became massively angry.
Eventually that happened. I had a home detox. It went amazing. I had a lot of help from the Isle of Wight DAT. The detox went well, and I've been sober ever since. That was 17 months ago. I've stayed sober 17 months now. No, I've got my kids back in my life. I'm back with my husband. I've basically turned my life around, and I'm happy.
And at that time I got pancreatitis, which is an alcoholic's illness. And I thought, great, I know what I'm going to die of. It's not going to be long now. And I was told that any drink could kill me now. And I was just, yeah. I mean, I remember being in hospital, because I was frequently in hospital once I got pancreatitis, and the doctor saying, you know, one more drink could kill you. And I remember saying, look, take these out, take all the tubing and the needles out of my arms, or I'll rip them out. And they did, and I just got out and went to the closest shop and bought vodka because I just wanted it to end. I was just desperately sad and desperately ill, but didn't care. Because of the pancreatitis and the pain of it would sort of force me to stop drinking, I decided that I'd use heroin as a painkiller so I could drink. So that's the kind of mess I got into with the pancreatitis. And I woke up in the night when I was in hospital, and for some reason I couldn't work out what the feeling I was having was. And I was sort of awake in the middle of the night. It was really quiet, and I couldn't realise that I was feeling like happy or joy, and it's because I hadn't felt that way for so many years. It took me a while to realise what it was, and it was at that point I decided to stop drinking and stop taking the drugs. I work in groups mentoring other addicts in their early stages of giving up, and you know, a lot of people say it's very admirable and you do get a lot out of it, but you know, a lot of it is to do with keeping me clean at the same time. And you know, today I'm sober and clean, and sometimes it can be a day at a time, but my life is just infinitely better now than it was.